AJ Marotte, Tiara, Bolden, head coach Scott Rueck. Scott, your opening statement.
All right. Well, a great win for our team. I have a ton of respect for San Francisco. I knew it would be a fight. We played them a few years ago, and it was like that. Very physical in watching them, getting to know them, and studying them. I mean, it's a veteran team. We just talked about it. They've got three grad transfers and 6 seniors, something like that. And so you're playing against a team with a ton of experience, and they executed like it. All night they had people step up and hit shots. They rebounded extremely well, and then, got up 9 and we're in control of this game, and it didn't look good for us. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and then everything just flipped. Our defense hit a different gear, our rebounding hit a different gear, and then we got out in transition because of those stops, and all of a sudden offense started to flow. And so this team has proven that they've got something special to them. Every time we've been down, there's no quit. We elevate, we execute, and we find a way. And they've done that, already 4 times in conference. And it's a joy to be a part of that stretch anyway. And we're becoming more and more consistent. And it was nice to see the ball go down for us tonight. And so I'm just really proud of them. It was a great atmosphere. Can I just say the band was incredible tonight? That was like the biggest. That was amazing. So it was just another really fun night in Gill, and I was really proud of the team for finding a way to pull it out.
Coach, obviously you can't win a game without offense, but it really felt like in that third quarter late, the defense is what won you guys the game. I think they only had 3 baskets from that last 4-minute stretch all the way to the end of regulation. How impressive is that for you to see from this team that's, still, I know it's the middle of the season kind of for you guys, the start of WCC play, but for them to clamp down like that and to get a win through its defense?
Yeah, that has been kind of in place since the UConn game. Something clicked that day out of desperation, where we learned how hard we had to play, how connected we had to be, and what we could do. Because in that fourth quarter, and the game wasn't close, don't misinterpret anything here, but they were looking around. They were deferring. We were disrupting everything they wanted to do that entire fourth quarter, and we outscored them. From that point forward, we've felt that feeling of dominance in stretches. And it's not easy to play like that for long stretches, actually. It takes everything you've got. Hyper-awareness, and a willingness to get down and gritty, and then to compete like crazy on the boards. And zones, you have to be, which was what we used tonight during that stretch, you have to be so intuitive, and so smart. And this team just found that gear that day, and it's maintained, and we've seen flashes of it, and I thought we were so disruptive. And great teams, if you're going to be one, you have to be a great defensive team, and you have to dominate the defensive boards, and down the stretch when we had to, it was there for us, and the team, to their credit, executed nearly flawlessly, for the last 14 minutes of the game.
Tiara, for you, obviously, again, kind of late in that third quarter, you guys were in a little bit of a rut offensively, and then I don't remember if it was a steal or a rebound, but you just took it right down the court, made a bucket and the foul. It felt like that's when things kind of started to flip offensively. Did you kind of start to feel that as well, the energy start to shift when you guys started to make that run late in the third?
Yes, I did. I was told whenever we get the ball, like if I have an open lane, to just take it. So I was really listening to my coaches on that one, and obviously it did play through. And I did feel the shift, and I feel like once that did happen, everybody else was like, okay, no, like we're still in this. And I feel like picking back from like my teammates definitely was like telling me, okay, like T, like let's do it, like let's keep going. And I wanted to continue to hustle for them. So.
AJ, obviously you've been around for a while. You've seen characteristics of teams.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing from this team that allows it to fight whatever it takes to not look at a 10-point deficit as well, we're going to lose tonight or whatever? What's the characteristic of this team?
Yeah.
Allowing you to do that?
I think we're doing really good. This week especially, I noticed it, just everyone buying into like our defensive philosophies. Coaches emphasized a lot this week that like even when we get down or like we're not doing good offensively, like if we just stick to our defensive stuff that we're really good at and have been really good at for years, like things are going to happen for us, but we just need to start there. And I think that's where we picked it up. Obviously, two-shot was a great thing too, but our defense definitely picked it up after that too, and that made a whole huge difference for us.
Scott, it seemed like they really attacked Kelsey tonight. I guess what does it say about your team that you're able to go, stretch out to other people, because she's kind of been leading the way for a while.
Yeah. Well, it felt more normal. That's kind of been our MO forever. I think that's the hardest team to guard when you've got a post that you have to send two at, which is the case, and then you've got shooters around the perimeter, stretching the floor and either knocking down shots or attacking closeouts and making good decisions. And tonight in stretches we had that. In stretches we did not have that. We didn't see the floor at times, and they were so disruptive. And I thought they were very physical, and I thought the game was allowed to be very physical. They were moving Kelsey off spots. It was hard to get position or maintain position without being, displaced and pushed off our spots and pushed off balance. And so, to Kelsey's credit, she's not feeling, 100% right now, just normal, cold. And so she fought like a warrior, and then Sela came in and finished it, but stretching the floor like that with great spacing is the hallmark of our offense. And this team is really, as we go, understanding it better and better and learning how to execute better and better, and fortunately, during those rough stretches, our defense has been good enough to give us a chance.
Scott, you mentioned that 16 was a run, I guess, for all three of you. Was there a moment specifically that kind of sticks out as kind of in that switch flip where you guys got the momentum back in the midst of that run?
No, I love it. I love it. No, I didn't know if you guys had a moment. I picture, I think it was brought up, T's coast to coast, her and one, changed momentum, I thought. That was a big play for us. Kelsey's put back, we had another attack. We missed a layup. She got a put back. That was a huge play. Kat on the O boards, just making plays during that stretch. And then AJ's three in the corner was huge, and then I picture kind of another AJ play, where she came off the screen and knocked down a jumper to kind of just separate us. And then T had that huge, I don't know, I think this is beyond the 16, by the way, but I just think her three, was maybe what sealed it, with a couple minutes to go. And so there were just a lot of big moments, and we'd been waiting for some kind of consistent offensive flow. It'd been so clunky all night, and you got to give them a ton of credit for the way they defended us. But we just didn't execute great tonight until that run, and so I think our transition game and those hustle plays, really gave us the momentum we needed.
I'm always terrible with math, so I'm probably wrong, but I believe it was almost a 10-minute scoring drought, the only two there towards the end of that. Just what about the zone defense was just clicking down there in the situation?
Yeah, beautiful. You know me. That's nothing makes me happier. I don't think there's anything that gets Beaver Nation more excited either. When we're locked down defensively, and when they're up against the shot clock, and when they're kind of scrambling on the perimeter and bobbling passes out of bounds, and all those things, you just know you're in control, and that's what a good zone defense has the ability to do. Certainly player to player can as well, but there's something about that zone, and we've seen it in here for years. We've used that thing, at key moments for 15 years now, and so tonight, that was magic. It was absolutely beautiful. We were at the rim, Kelsey and Sela shutting that down, and then for a team that wants to shoot the three as much as they do, and doesn't really look at the mid-range a whole lot, we knew we had to hug that three-point line, and for the most part, we did a great job. And then I thought we were really intuitive on knowing who wanted it, who didn't, and really paying attention to those who did and taking them away. Then the other part of that, it's hard to, as people say, it's hard to rebound out of a zone, and it looked that way for a little stretch, but then everything changed, and we competed on the boards and actually started dominating the defensive boards as well, which is probably the difference in the game.
Scott, I think you mentioned the UConn game, near the end of that is when you saw the defense kind of start to turn a corner this year. Could you just elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah.
What specifically?
Well, to be great at zone, it takes almost like a fear. There is a level of almost desperation that you have to be with be in to get your body to do what it needs to do on time. It's uncomfortable. You have to be so locked in mentally, and your body has to agree. So you have to cover ground so quickly, and you have to anticipate so much. And so there's an awareness of what they want to do, and I've got to beat the ball to spots. If you're following the ball, you'll never be there on time, and actually zone is just miserable because you're just a step late and you're just getting toyed with. You know, the second that you lock in all 5 people and you're moving with the basketball and you're actually beating the basketball to spots with good angles and good coverage, there's nothing actually more fun to play. You know, and I've used this zone or versions of it a lot in my career. You know, my first 8 years, I never would have considered, as a head coach anyway, ever considered running a zone. I was like the most anti-zone guy. And then out of desperation, I had to use it. I'm like, I don't have, you know, the people to play player to player for a season. I've got to try something different. And I learned, you know, zones can be fun. And basically, if you really look at it, if you freeze frame, you know, a ball's on the wing, what you have is perfect built-in player-to-player defense. That's ultimately what it is. And when all 5 people sync, I think they could speak to it. There's nothing more enjoyable or more fun than to feel the whole team just dominate in a zone. You're just coming out of nowhere. So anyway, we used it before UConn, but we were a step slow. We didn't fully understand what it could do. And so then at your core, you don't have the same buy-in. And then there's a game that you'll hit at some point in the year where it's like, oh, we just did something we've never done. And the second you feel that, you get it, and you know that you can absolutely dominate another team. And UConn was what scared us enough and made us, you know, hit that level necessary. In that second half, everything changed for this team. You know, we outscored them in the second half, and I think for the first time, this team felt their potential that day.
It sounds like you kind of have a green light in this game. You mentioned like when you get into the lane to just attack. Like how good does that feel in a game like this?
I mean, it feels really good. Obviously, I make sure to look for like my other teammates and stuff first because I obviously don't want to force anything. But it is great to be able to have more time on the shot clock and be able to run our offense like we planned.
Just for AJ and T, you know, the first half you guys had shot 23s, you only made 6 of them. In the second half, you only shot 7. Did you feel like offensively in the second half that things kind of had to change a little bit more? You guys had to be more maybe aggressive inside? What do you think kind of led to a little bit of less shooting from 3 and going more inside the paint?
Yeah, definitely. We talked about that at halftime. Just in this team, you know, they were playing us a little differently, clogging up the paint more, so it didn't seem like we could get to the rim. So I think we were forcing some shots at the beginning, but you know, we talked about it at halftime, and we're like, no, like we're fast enough, we're athletic enough, we can get into the paint with you know, against these players, and you know, they did a different lineup with some shorter girls, and some of us are faster, more athletic. Like it was just different looks. But yeah, once T started getting in there, I think all of us were like, okay, that's how it should look, and that's what we should be doing, because yeah, that's where most of our offense is at the rim. So. Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.
Go Beavs!
Go Beavs!